Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making this up. Quote, normally the heart will push out 60%. If you go down to 40% or 50%, we regard that as mild impairment of the left ventricle. 30 to 40% would be moderate. If you get to 30%, that would be severe. Okay, what is this about? That's George Conway. The wonderful George Conway, who despises Trump and will vote Democrat no matter what. I think he might be one of the never-Trump Republicans. Who knows? Philippe Reigns, the wonderful Philippe Reigns. And if you're listening, Mr. Reigns, please, Hillary needs to save the Democratic Party. I'm voting for President Trump. And we both know that Madam Secretary is going to be the nominee. I will say this. Hillary Clinton is the only candidate who can possibly defeat President Trump, although she won't. She will not. In 2015, NPR quoted me saying that Hillary Clinton is unelectable. She'll lose swing states. I wrote that in 2015 in the Huffington Post. I wrote 100 articles in the Huffington Post, the Hill, Salon, other publications, the Jerusalem Post, the Cleveland Plain Dealer. I was for saying Bernie Sanders would defeat a criminal, a person who transferred top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government on servers running on Microsoft Exchange software. That's according to Ars Technica. Comey talked about the special access program intelligence. Doesn't matter. I love Hillary Clinton now. My God. I'm voting for President Trump. Love President Trump. But I have a great deal of affection for Madam Secretary. Why? Because she symbolizes everything about the Democratic Party that I want publicized. She will be the nominee. She fights. I'll give her that. Bernie Sanders, God bless him, is not a fighter. They want to know how much his heart is, how much blood is pumping from his heart. They want his heart. Madam Secretary wants his heart on a platter, and they're gonna, God forbid, you know what I mean. Not literally. Not literally. Normally, the heart will push out 60%. If you go down 40 or 50%, we regard that as mild impairment of the left ventricle. 30 to 40% would be moderate. If you get to 30%, that would be severe. Now, you had somebody who, let's put it this way. When they were talking about Madam Secretary's issues, it was, oh my God, how dare you, how could you, oh my God, oh my goodness, if this were a man. Now, they want to literally find out. So George Conway was quoting an NBC News article. So it goes from NBC News to George Conway to Philippe Reigns to you. They're going to spit out and they're going to spit and chew out. They're going to chomp up Bernie Sanders, spit him out, chew him out, or chew him out and spit him out, whatever. You know what I mean. Bernie's a little rabbit, a little Medicare for all bunny rabbit. And he sold his soul spreading the nonsense. Trump said both sides. Russia might, Russia and Trump are working together. No. Madam Secretary lost because she was unelectable. She's still unelectable. The Democrats will nominate Hillary Clinton. It's just a matter of when. That's why I say, message to Philippe Reigns and the Clinton campaign. Just start the nomination, start the process already. Have Madam Secretary run sooner than later. It doesn't matter if she runs the day of the convention. She will easily win. She's the only candidate who could possibly defeat Trump, although she won't. But it'll be a lot better, a lot more fun. And it will force Democrats and progressives and everyone on the left to vote for the same person they claim to despise now, they claim to dislike now. When I was saying in the Huffington Post, the Hill Salon, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, when I was saying that Clinton could not win, nobody was listening to me. I said that Bernie Sanders was actually the true frontrunner in 2016, he would have won were it not for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was forced to resign in disgrace, not because of Russia's fault, because the Clinton the DNC cheated Bernie Sanders. They even tried to use his religion against him. You can read the DNC emails, read the campaign emails. It's not illegal to do so. Yeah, and they weren't written by Russia. They were written by Democrats. Election interference is a euphemism for Democratic corruption. Anyway, they want his heart. If you want new reporting from, this is Philippe Brains, new reporting from NBC, quoting a cardiologist on key medical information Senator Sanders is withholding in the wake of his recent heart attack. Seems like a good debate question if, heaven forbid, another candidate would experience what Bernie Sanders experienced, God forbid. You think they would say it was a good question? Of course not. But they fight. They fight dirty. Seems like a good debate question, if not from the moderators, than his opponents. Okay, so then somebody wrote, tweeting this out like this without knowing what percent Bernie is at is fundamentally irresponsible. And then George Conway writes, he had a heart attack on October 1st. He's running for president. He can tell us whether the number is high or low or in between. It would be fundamentally irresponsible not to ask him to do that. Now, I think President Trump is a great president. Record low unemployment, record highs in the stock market. Most importantly, 5 million people lifted out of poverty. Look at the numbers. I link the Census and the USA Today articles below in the description. 5 million people lifted out of poverty. And yes, I have information from the Dallas Fed below in the description section. The tax cuts added 1% to GDP in 2018. So, yes, the tax cuts did have a positive impact in aggregate. You can just look at not just 5 million people lifted out of poverty, record low unemployment. There was a couple months back, the unemployment rate for Hispanic and Latino men was below the national average. Record low Black and Latino unemployment in aggregate. You have household median income up. This was not President Obama's economy. President Obama had a 1.6% GDP, had anemic growth in 2016. Trump has 6 million jobs created in 3 years compared to 8.9 million in 8 years with President Obama. President Trump is reversing failed U.S. foreign policy. President Trump is going after corrupt intelligence officials who they set him up and framed him with a dossier purchased by Clinton. I mean, we can go on forever. The beginning of peace between North and South Korea. President Trump is the first president to step foot in North Korea. We can go on forever. My message to the Clinton campaign is just enter. Sooner rather than later. What are you waiting for? Don't be a bunch of imbeciles and lose whatever advantage you have. Doesn't matter if Bernie wins South Carolina or Bernie does well on Super Tuesday. You know very well that you're going to try to undermine and disparage and denigrate and mock Bernie Sanders. Get Hillary Clinton in the race. But whatever. Wait until the convention in July. Who cares? She'll be the nominee. We all know this. Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. She's the only person who could possibly defeat Trump. Now, she won't defeat Trump because President Trump is a great president. 61% of Americans are happier with their lives and the presidency now compared to 2016. So you had George Conway, Trump is a pathological, narcissistic liar. Yeah. Did President Obama drink Flint water because he thought it was safe? Because he wanted to convey the safety of how good the water was? It was still poisonous. He lied about that. The water wasn't safe to drink when he drank it. Okay? We can go on forever. What about that failed NATO intervention where he literally destroyed a country because of the failed NATO intervention that Madam Secretary pushed for? We can go on forever. President Trump's track record, both in the economy and foreign policy, infinitely better than President Obama's and astronomically better, infinitely better than Bush's. But the bottom line is this. They're talking about how much blood, literally how much blood Bernie's heart is pumping. they're getting so detailed. And forget about not just that. There's a Daily Beast article talking about how Sanders needs to fire one of his top staffers because the staffer went after Elizabeth Warren. Then there's the Bernie Sanders Fidel Castro comment today. Then there's the heart issue. Then there's Russia. Yes, because the ODNI report says that they're highly to moderately confident. None of these Democrats have read the ODNI report. But Bernie Sanders, bless his heart, sold his soul to the intelligence community that hasn't been right about anything from the Bay of Pigs, the Gulf of Tonkin. We can go Bush's failed foreign policy endeavors, the worst day in U.S. history that I can't talk about on YouTube, but that was also an intelligence failure. They demand reverence of these people. They're complete buffoons. They've been wrong for decades. And now they're aligned with the Democratic Party. Look, I want Trump versus Clinton because I want all those Bernie supporters to vote for Clinton. The only way, like I said in 2016, to prevent Democrats from cheating Bernie Sanders would be to deny your vote, say Bernie or bust. But there weren't Bernie or bust. There weren't enough people there hardly any people who were Bernie or bust. I was. But then, at a certain point, I said, wait a second. The DNC is suing Russia? The DNC should promise not to cheat anyone. The DNC, in the emails that they wrote, those emails forced Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign in disgrace. Why? Because they were going to use Bernie's religion against him. I'm Jewish. Bernie Sanders is Jewish. Many people in Clinton's campaign are as well. And guess what? The DNC tried to paint him as an atheist. That's right. Because it would be easier to win certain southern states. We can go on forever. The campaign emails, Bill Clinton, 500 conflicts of interest. Nobody reads them. Basically, it's almost as if they were never written. Democrats are really good at erasing history. It's irrelevant. Basically, the truth right now regarding the Democratic Party is irrelevant. We need a face-off between Trump and Clinton. So the current Democratic paradigm becomes no longer. Trump is going to defeat Hillary Clinton. Now, she could come close. Bernie Sanders would get demolished. There's no crossover appeal. In 2016, when I said that Bernie would win, he could have won. He could have won. There were Republicans, enough people in rural states to vote Bernie. But now they literally want that indicator. The left ventricle ejection fraction is provided to any patient after a heart attack. It's a measure of how much blood volume the heart pushes out with an individual heartbeat, and it correlates with the risk for future cardiac events and mortality rate. They want to know how much blood is being pumped out of Bernie Sanders. They'll stop at nothing. It's only a matter of depending on how good he does, they'll fabricate an investigation. Could be the Bernie dossier. What? I never went to the bathroom on anyone. What are you talking about? Bernie. But you sold your soul, right? How many times did you tweet? About 20 times. You tweeted nonsense about Trump and Russia. You knew it was fabricated, the whole thing. But you did it anyway. So they're going to buy a Bernie dossier. Oh, no. Here we go again. Look. Instead of simply saying, look, Trump didn't work with Russia, but I disagree with him on policy, he fomented the same Russia myth they're going to use against Bernie Sanders. It's only a matter of time, if depending on how well he does, that they fabricated an investigation of Bernie Sanders. Read my article in The Federalist, Why Bernie Supporters Should Vote Trump 2020. All I can tell Bernie in his campaign is to be careful, because they're going to go after you with everything they have. They're going to crush the Bernie Sanders campaign. And not only will they crush Bernie Sanders, Bernie will then say, vote Clinton in 2020. Clinton will lose to Trump, and we'll see how strong the cult is on the left. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. You can read my writing in the pinned comment and the description. Thank you so very, very. And by the way, I do not have a Twitter or Facebook account. That is explained in the pinned comment and description.